Hello everyone, this is R.S. Miller at the endtimenews.org and today is May 29th, 2013. Russia continues preparing for war. Russia's air forces were scrambled Monday for snap drills as the defense ministry continues to test combat readiness of its troops with a series of surprise exercises. Speaking at the General Staff meeting, Russia's Army Chief General Gennady Gerasimov reminded about President Putin's orders to keep troops in battle readiness. He said the defense minister ordered a fresh round of drills early Monday that involved space defense forces, long-range and transport aviation, as well as combined air and anti-missile defense forces of Russian Western Military District. General Gerasimov added that the Army troops were already on their feet, fighting off simulated air attacks. A total of 8,700 personnel are taking part in the war games, alongside 185 warplanes and 250 armored vehicles. Foxhound interceptors are going on round-the-clock duty in northern Russia as part of a snap combat readiness check. The fighters, in conjunction with A-50 airborne warning and control system aircraft, are performing continuous missions to protect the airspace, including from cruise missile strikes. The aircraft are to be refueled while still in the air. The three-day exercise in which the fighters will fend off aerospace attacks is part of a series of random checks of the Russian armed forces that began in February. Israeli forebodings over widening Russian-Hezbollah-Iraqi intervention in Syria. Forebodings were voiced Wednesday, May 29th, by senior Israeli military officers in the face of the widening military intervention in the Syrian civil war by Russia, Iran, Hezbollah, and latterly Iraq too. They have made Syria's civil war the platform for a Russian contest against the West, and a ladder up which Iran and its proxy Hezbollah are climbing to top Middle East regional power spot. Russia, Iran, and Hezbollah are winning the contest by default against an unresisting U.S.-led West and a hesitant Israel. A senior IDF official acknowledged on Wednesday that Israel's government and military leaders are at a loss on how to proceed. They have yet to recover from the calamitous miscalculation that Bashar Assad's days were numbered, to which they clung stubbornly for almost 18 months. Even today, some spokesmen refer to a disintegrating Syria, thereby losing sight of the major strategic and military changes overtaking the country that are entirely to Israel's detriment, as well as eroding its options under a nuclear Iran. At a time that the U.S. and Israel should be using their heaviest military guns to slow Iran's race for a nuclear bomb, Tehran, with Moscow's backing, has brought its military assets up close to Israel's border in Syria and Lebanon and openly threatens to use them. Unlike Syria and Iran, Israel can't count on military intervention against an aggressor by supportive big powers. According to Depkafal's Washington sources, no part of the Obama administration, including its military and intelligence arms, favor military action in Syria. Even the direct evidence of chemical warfare already afoot in Syria is unavailing. In Addis Ababa, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry repeated the administration's mantra Wednesday by denying concrete evidence of the use of chemical weapons in Syria. The Secretary and the rest of NATO were deaf to the vivid testimony brought to Le Monde Wednesday by two reporters who risked their necks by spending 2 months concealed in the Jobar district of Damascus. They discovered Russia or Iran had developed a chemical weapon that does not explode. This release of its poisonous gases sounds like popping the top off a soda can and has no odor, no smoke, not even a whistle to indicate the release of toxic gases. The Le Monde reporters provided a graphic first-hand description. The men coughed violently, their eyes burn, their pupils shrink, their vision blurs. Soon they experience difficulty breathing, sometimes in the extreme. They begin to vomit or lose consciousness. The fighters worst affected need to be evacuated before they suffocate. A senior Israeli officer who was interviewed by Depkafal concerning the developing crisis in the region said, "A military and strategic catastrophe for the West and Israel is in full flight in Syria, and no one in Washington or Jerusalem is lifting a finger." Israel's government and military heads never imagined that the Syrian war would take this turn. But we had better wake up at this 11th hour before it is too late. On a side note, the war that is coming soon between Israel and Russian-backed Syria and Iran, along with Hezbollah, is most likely going to involve nuclear weapons. The leaders of Iran and its terrorist proxy Hezbollah seek the total annihilation of the Jewish state at any cost. Israel views the Iranian pursuit of a nuclear weapon, along with the genocidal rhetoric unleashed by the top officials in Iran, as an existential threat. In 2006, Hezbollah successfully fought Israel to a standstill in southern Lebanon. So what happens when Israel, facing its own extinction, finds itself in a war against Russian-backed Iran, Syria, and Hezbollah? Even though nukes are generally considered to be a weapon of last resort, in Israel's case, it may well be. Syria and Hezbollah bolster forces in Qusayr. Syrian elite forces and more fighters from the Lebanese Shia group Hezbollah have been sent to reinforce government troops battling rebels in the strategic border town of Qwaser, activists report. Government fighter jets launched early on Wednesday 6 air raids on the rebel-held areas of the town, Hadi al-Abdullah, an activist in Qwaser told Al Jazeera, as clashes raged between forces loyal to President Bashar al-Assad and opposition fighters on several front lines. Up to 40 tanks and 40 pickup vehicles fitted with heavy machine guns were moving toward the town from Kuala Mand in Damascus province. Rebels will try to foil their advance, Abdullah said. Rami Abdul Rahman of the London-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights Network said the latest reinforcements indicate that the regime is gearing up for a major offensive on neighborhoods in the north and west of the town still under rebel control. U.S. Senate resolution worthless, according to Iranian Defense Minister. Brigadier General Ahmad Vahidi said on Wednesday that the resolution approved by the U.S. Senate was of no value to the Islamic Republic. There is no doubt that the Israeli regime has survived so far because of U.S. support, but the fact that the U.S. Senate publicly approves such issues in violation of all international law and principles encourages the acts of aggression by the occupier of Al-Quds, Iran's defense minister added. This matter is considered worthless by the Islamic Republic, he said. On May 23rd, the U.S. Senate passed a resolution urging Washington to support Israel should the Tel Aviv regime launch an attack against Iran. According to the resolution, if Israel strikes Iran's nuclear energy facilities, the United States government should stand with Israel and provide, in accordance with United States law and the constitutional responsibility of Congress, to authorize the use of military force, diplomatic, military, and economic support to the Israeli regime. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, Paul writes, "But concerning the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I should write to you. For you yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so comes as a thief in the night. For when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them as labor pains upon a pregnant woman, and they shall not escape. But you, brethren, are not in darkness, so that this day should overtake you as a thief. Friends, Paul is telling us that if we are paying attention to the signs of the times, as Jesus commanded us to do, then that day will not come upon us as a thief in the night. That is why it is so very important to stay alert to what's going on around us. Otherwise, we could be caught off guard. The signs are pointing to the fact that these are indeed the last days. Everything from the mass die-offs of millions of birds and sea creatures, to the melting of the polar regions, to climate change, to new and virulent diseases, to wars and rumors of wars. The earth itself is under a curse and cries out for redemption. God has already numbered the days from long ago, and the time of reckoning is near. Are you saved? If you have a desire to know Jesus and be assured of your soul's salvation, then follow the link below and pray the prayer of salvation with a sincere heart, and you will be saved. May God bless you.